something to say. Like, I always got something to say. My goodness. Hey, guys. Hey, I am Suave. Glizzy GQ should have taken a different route in life completely. I'm going to need you to elaborate. What does that even mean? It does. It does. What you gonna do?
You enjoying that pasta?
Sure.
But you
can't eat nothing like this around nobody.
You sure can't.
Right, you probably should be biting it.
Right.
Eat like a banana?
Yup.
Right.
He be wanting to be on this show so bad. I know you got your own show. Hey, Ayana. Hey, friend. Hey, Kim. He said the title is what brought me here for sure. You rocking that hat, cuz. Thank you. Thank you, Crystal, for the hat. Hey, Brandy.
Hey, y'all.
Hey, hey. Yeah. Hey, you don't know me? She said, hey, young people, as if you're not young. Back over this same T-word was. We appreciate you. Dahu. The title is what brought me here for sure. Hope you enjoyed. Hey, Jorge. Divine Wisdom is sending blessings to the chat. Hey, sis, finally here for a live. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you guys so much for joining. You ready for him?
I'm ready, girl.
So, guys, this is my friend, Michelle. And I invited her here because we're always having deep conversations about things all the time. I don't know how much you're going to share, so I'll let you tell why you're here.
I'm an open book.
Let me be clear. She is Michelle and I have known each other for a long time. Michelle is a real estate agent, or did you call it a realtor? Sorry.
That's okay.
She also repairs credit, very professional, but she can be real hood right along with me, y'all. Like, you know.
I'm a good Christian girl now.
However, I thought that she was best suited for this conversation because Michelle actually was in a very toxic relationship. So there's nothing better than someone who can advise us from a place of experience. I too have been in toxic relationships. So today we're just going to, I think what has happened in our life is that we have normalized toxicity. Like we have. And that's why we end up staying in situations for so long. So today our goal is to tell you how to identify if you're in a toxic situation, how to identify if it's you, because sometimes it's us, you know what I mean? Sometimes we actually are causing the issue.
Right.
And ways to get out if that's what your goal is in the healing process. And after the healing, how do you start over? So, Michelle, do you want to get started?
Oh my. So I'll just start by defining. Well, first I'll just start by saying when we met, I was in said toxic relationship.
You were. Mm-hmm.
And one thing that you said to me years later, you were like, "Friend, ever since I known you, you've been going through this same cycle. Like, when are you gonna choose you?" And I didn't choose me at that time,
right.
But I just remember like you came into my life in the midst of it. So
right. And so the funny part is, so let me go back a little bit. When I met Michelle, I actually met Michelle through my best friend, Ayana. Michelle ain't like Kiki. I should have known something wrong then, okay? But no, y'all probably see now I have a huge personality. And she was like, what's her motive? Like, what's the deal with this one? But over time, so I got to meet a part that even though we weren't close, I got an opportunity to see this huge personality, this so super fun, outgoing person. And then when we finally connect, she wasn't there no more. And I didn't understand. I was like, what's going on? Like, who is this chick? Like, I thought that I was getting myself into this. And she like, Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh.
I even remember Eeyore.
I don't remember Eeyore.
How you spell Eeyore?
E-or, E-O-R, I think E, maybe. So, okay, go back to what you were saying.
No, I think I was just gonna define toxic because some people think toxic is toxic, and that's gonna be a hard word for me all day. So just work with me. But some people assume that it's physical, and or we would use abusive relationships in the past. So toxic relationship is kind of new, but you'd be surprised that it can mean emotional, mental, physical, spiritual.
Absolutely.
It can be, all those things, but until you're in the situation or until you're even the toxic one, you don't understand it. It's outside of physical. So I let me be clear, let us be clear that it's more to, what's the word?
Toxicity.
Yes, than just physical. You know what I mean? So
exactly. I definitely would agree with that. Let me ask you a question. So I actually took, I'm always taking notes, and I took them on my phone. So y'all, I apologize for looking down. I ain't have time. So to further explain what a toxic, or how to identify if you're in a toxic relationship, some of the things that I wanted to point out is the relationship stops bringing you joy. I think in some of the past Let Me Be Clear segments, I've talked about where we should be in different stages of our relationship. Sometimes we get to a place where it's no longer a happy place. You know what I mean? It's not. And we don't, let me be clear, we have unhappy places all of the time. But when this is something that's constant, it's consistent, it's more times than not that you're actually unhappy in your situation, we probably are leaning more on the era of toxicity. In that time, you're constantly feeling sad, you're constantly feeling angry, anxious, or just resigned, like you don't even want to come home. You finding reasons to be in the street. You find a reason to stop by somebody else's house. You're trying to wait until they go to sleep because you don't even want to deal with them. You ignoring their phone calls when they actually come because you just feel like everything with them makes you anxious. It makes you sad. It just brings you to a bad place. And then one of the biggest things that I think that sometimes people get used to is just not being able to voice your concerns. Sometimes we actually hide behind, well, I don't want to, like maybe, or I know me personally, I've put, exactly. And I put the responsibility on myself, like, hey, I'm being too aggressive, or it's not that big of a deal. And you start thinking that everything is not that big of a deal because of the fact that you just simply don't want to say anything to this person because you know that it's going to blow up. So I think those are some of the signs, and I would like to hear from y'all to see if y'all would agree, or if you have some other signs that we should actually be pointing out.
I would actually say the opposite, to where, you say you want to be in the street. No, you want to be home because you don't want to argue. You answer that phone right away because you don't want to argue. Right. Or you don't have a life because you don't want to argue.
So would you say that a part of toxicity is control? Because apparently that person is making you feel like if I don't do this, then I am going to.
Yeah, but they don't even realize that they control you like that. They just know that, you trying to be the peacemaker, or you trying to just minimize the amount of, can we curse on here?
Yeah.
Minimize the amount of bullshit you got to deal with. You just say, you know what, y'all, and you and Ayana can attest to this. It was times where I was like, I ain't gonna make it. Because I get the food right here, I'm just gonna stay at home. I ain't gonna make it because it's gonna be more drama to deal with versus, you know what I'm saying? So you find yourself isolated,
right?
You know what I'm saying? So it's I feel like it's two sides of it. You either run away from it or you stay so close to it just so you can control the bullshit.
Right. And I have definitely been in those situations, not specifically what you went through, but just being in a prison in your own mind because of the fact that somebody has, whether they cheated on you or beat on you or whatever, you feel like as long as I'm in your presence, I don't have to deal with whatever that is. You know what I mean? So I call it being a prisoner to yourself, because it's like, I'm not going nowhere. I'm just going to stop my life, which ultimately ends up in isolation because you're afraid of what it means if you're not in my sight or I'm not in yours.
Right.
Definitely a toxic situation.
Right.
I'm going to catch up on some of these comments. Gemini Kick says, my last relationship was toxic, but I thank God for allowing me to go through it. If I wouldn't have gone through that, I wouldn't have found my wife. Absolutely. Right, Stephanie said, Stephanie McNair? Is that Stephanie?
How would we know?
I don't know. Manipulation. We know somebody with the same name. Might be her.
Yeah.
If so, hey girl.
Right.
Glizzy GQ said, I was just in a toxic relationship. Literally, I spent the whole year going through hell and hot water trying to prove I love someone who didn't even love me. She was toxic mentally towards me. Wow. AW ADW. I always read that out of order. Patterson said, my last relationship was so bad, I would wake up anxious as hell. Like, what is it going to be today? Feeling sick to my stomach and having to deal with him. You just had a whole reaction.
Girl, what is it going to be today? Like, I can honestly remember, and this is the sad part, but I could just remember being home first and you hear that damn garage open and your body just be like, oh shit.
Oh my God.
Like it ain't, and I didn't do any drugs. I should have, but it ain't enough weed. It ain't enough alcohol. I was a goddamn alcoholic. Remember y'all used to be like, how do you go through a whole bottle in a day? Bitch, live a day in my shoes, you will too.
Oh my God.
But
when I tell you,
it's not
like you had all of those things on your counter and we were like, oh, this is a real deal.
Like, you try to escape. You try to be like, this ain't really going on. But you know what? You look back at it and granted, there were some okay days and there were some good days or whatever, but you just, like she said or he said, you wake up and you like, what the fuck is it gonna be now?
So how long would you say you were in this situation before you realized that, hey, this isn't, like, was it,
did I ever realize it? But go ahead, ask the question.
No. I think that ultimately, I feel like when I started coming around and we started getting close, I feel like you was in that process of being like, maybe, I don't know, because you used to have this thing every January that you was like, January 1st, this is what I'm gonna do. And I used to be like, why are you waiting until January 1st?
Right, the whole 364 days. I'm gonna deal with this shit.
But I feel like that first year when we was hanging out after we playing brunch, I remember you saying January 1st. And then it went on a couple of years after that. But I think that's when it was so by that time, how long had y'all been together? Because that's when I can identify that you were like, okay, maybe
probably 3-4 years by then.
Gotcha.
Probably 3, yeah.
Can you identify anything that switched during that time that just went from, hey, we super good until now? It was no signs. It was just kind of like,
it started in the beginning. We ignore the signs in the beginning.
We absolutely do.
We ignore the signs in the beginning. Like when you think back, you be like, this nigga was a nut. And don't get me wrong, we'll switch the subject in a minute to me being a toxic person because I had my issues too. But you look back and you say, even before we even got deep into a relationship or even before, we made it official or anything like that, I saw the signs of the bullshit. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, you got to get to know people's background, their family, how they interact with other people, how they act under pressure, how they act when they're drunk. You got to learn all that before you say, okay, we're going to be together. Because had I seen all that, then I probably would have made the same decision. So I ain't going to say that. But you get to see, I mean, it's the signs are there. We just ignore them.
Yes, and I definitely agree with that. I really do. And I don't think that you ignore it with the intentions of thinking that the person is changing. I know me personally, I go into situations being way too trustworthy. And I just be like, oh, this is that person. I can deal with this. Or I will dumb down what I really feel just so I can fit into a situation. I have been guilty of that in the past. And so then later you just like, okay, wait a minute. This was the same issue, but now it means something to me because I'm actually here with you, and I think you said a whole mouthful, and I promise you I'm going to do a let's be clear about them families. First and foremost, I don't think that we ask the right questions in the beginning of a relationship. I really think we too focused on what happened in the last relationship when it really be that family. I promise you I'm going to have a let's be clear about it. I got to get my nerves together.
Don't do it here. Don't do it here. Go to Ayana house or something. Don't do it here.
Like seriously, but I definitely can attest to that. Like I do. So you mentioned that you could be toxic, and we mentioned that in the beginning. Like sometimes we want to put the responsibility on other people. We want to say it's this and it's that. We feel like because we can excuse ourselves of different things, then it makes it okay. Just because you have an excuse for the reason that you're doing stuff does not make it okay, because there are several ways that you can handle various situations. So when did you realize that you were the problem?
I wasn't the problem. I was part of the problem.
Let me be clear.
I probably realized that, I'll be honest with you, when I stopped wanting to tell my friends the stuff that was going on, when I was too embarrassed to say what was really going on, or when I was lying about what was really going on, that's when I knew. I was like, this is some bullshit. Like, I can't even pick up the phone and call nobody and say, girl, let me tell you, because they ain't going to answer. Because they already know, like, it's the same shit, Michelle. And when y'all have gotten exhausted with saying, okay, that was you this time, Michelle. That was you. Or, you know, how long you gonna deal with this? Like, you have to make a decision that you deserve more.
Right.
And I say that it's a problem. You are the problem at times, because in reality, nobody can force you to feel a certain type of way. Those are your emotions.
Absolutely.
You control your emotions.
Right.
Now, people say you can be provoked and all that. That's to each his own. But in reality, if you are so solid in who you are, ain't a motherfucker alive that can make you feel no type of way.
Absolutely.
So you got to check yourself and get yourself together. A lot of times when we're in toxic relationships, we went into it insecure. We went into it broken. We went into it just holding on to some type of hope because we felt like, oh, this person showed me some attention or something. So we'll deal with the bullshit just because they smiling at me, or they rub me the right way, or they sex me the right way, whatever. But it's because there's a void within us.
Right. I mean, because I mean, to attest to what you're saying, I think that we have to be happy as individuals. I think a lot of times we go into relationships thinking, I'm waiting on you to make me happy. You have to be happy as an individual. You have to have yourself together as an individual. You have to heal some of those broken wounds, or put some Vaseline on them scars, or whatever it is, so that you can be right. Exactly. So you can be whole and you can be one as an individual and be happy. And then together y'all can be even more happy. But you cannot depend on somebody else for your happiness. No. And then that's what happens. It turns into a toxic situation because, number one, you're giving them way too much responsibility.
And you have resentment.
And then when they don't live up to it, you have resentment when all along it was you. You know what I mean? So you have to be aware of that. Like, you have to be aware of yourself as an individual. And sometimes we can get so consumed in these relationships. I know me personally, I have definitely been so consumed till I just gave myself a project earlier this year. Like, who are you without your family? Like, literally, you got to find yourself, because sometimes it's so easy to get lost in the situation. You know what I'm saying? And when you finally wake up, like you find yourself miserable or whatever, and it's literally because you've lost contact with who you are. Like, literally. We got to go back to.
So Stephanie is Hey, thank
you for joining, girl.
Chrissy said, hey.
Chrissy was that. Chrissy, what?
Chrissy.
Yeah. Chrissy. Hey, girl. Hey, Letitia. Hey, Jeffrey. I'll be having to say hey to everybody because these are consistent people. They support and I love them. Hey, Carrie. You don't know me said, no, ma'am. I don't know what no, ma'am would be happy alone. Absolutely. Which brings me to another point, and this is probably something we should talk at the end. Before this relationship with said individual, did you jump from one relationship to another one, or did you ever spend any time alone trying to give yourself, like, because you admitted that you came into the situation broken. Did you give yourself time to heal, or you just jumped in?
But I didn't do it on purpose. Like, you know, we always say, well, I'm single, you know, but you still kind of in the entanglement. We know that. Right. You're still in the entanglement, or you still, you know, can make a few phone calls and make some shake that night. So you're still emotionally attached to somebody. So have I ever been single, like not emotionally attached to anybody? Not until January 1st, 2019. You know what I'm saying?
I'm so proud of you.
Other than that, it's always been overlapping.
Right.
Yeah. You know, so somebody got one foot in and one foot out, but you still, you know, you like, so you're never really alone. You never really with your own thoughts. And when we get to the part about healing, I'm gonna tell you one thing that broke me all the way down. Somebody should have told me to do this a long time ago, but I never had that moment because I was just, you know, going from one place to another. Not because I felt like I had to, but just because opportunities presented themselves. Right. So I took advantage or whatever.
And I will say, putting myself in this situation, thinking about the situations where I jumped from one place to another, I did it so I didn't have to feel the pain. I thought it was just a bandage, you know what I'm saying? But it was just like, if I'm by myself, I just got to deal with me. I got to look myself in the mirror. I got to learn how to just process all of this. But if I'm kicking it with you, I can put that on the back burner. Now, you went home a couple of times and felt that emptiness. You felt that being alone, being scared. And then I'm calling somebody else. Like, hey, let me just anything to avoid hurting.
Yeah. I've never felt that aloneness because I got a 13-year-old. So for 13 years, I ain't been alone. So, but also the whole saying of in order to get over somebody, you got to get under somebody. So you feel like, well, if I just keep moving,
coming up with this,
that's some bullshit. Don't do that shit. Don't do that. Have you messed up? Don't do that. No rebounds. But you have that concept of let me just keep moving,
Right.
you know, not even realize what you just said, so you don't have to deal with the hurt.
Mhm.
People don't even identify that is hurt. They just like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I don't want to sit down. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I need somebody to call. Hello, you coming through? Like,
right. Exactly.
we just don't want to deal. So
Exactly. So now we know what a toxic relationship is. I always have to catch up on comments. It don't be a whole bunch in here, but I want to make sure that I acknowledge everybody that's here. Okay, so I think we stopped here.
Yes.
Chrissy, enjoy.
How do you handle a toxic relationship with your parent?
Oh, Chaz, let me be clear. Let me stop and segue.
Oh no, that's another
I'm
time.
not gonna go down that path. I'm not today. But I am going to say a toxic relationship don't just have to be with a significant other. It's parents, it's children, it's your employer, it's your friends.
It's baby
toxic
mamas.
is anybody that you can be in relationship with, anybody that you have to interact with can be a toxic relationship. And like I said, it's not normal, but sometimes you have normalized it so much till you don't even identify the signs. You just like, I hear people all the time that say stuff like, that's just who they is. No, that's an excuse. They ain't gotta be like that. And even if that is, you can make the decision to not be a part of that person's circle or whatever it is, you know.
But have you heard this thing when people say drama follows them? People feel like they don't have a purpose in life unless something is going on, because they feel like either they're a savior, so they're like, girl, let me tell you what happened, let me tell you what I did, or whatever, or they just, it's like a reality show, like they have to have something going on just to wake up and be like, it's a pretty day outside, ain't enough for them,
right? But then also sometimes we have to acknowledge the fact that sometimes people have been nurtured that way, so they don't know that they're doing anything wrong. Like, I think that sometimes we look at it and it's like we can identify it because we realize this is wrong, but sometimes it's like it's something that's just embedded in them. This is what everything that they've always thought. Case in point being, and this is not necessarily a negative thing, but when I first met Mike, for example, he used to tell me about his upbringing, and he would always like speak on it in high regards. And so as I continued to listen, I'm thinking to myself, that wasn't normal. This ain't. And then I started meeting these people, and I was like, okay. And I realized that because of the fact that he had always been surrounded by that, it was so normal to him he really thought that everybody else doing something on the outside of that was different, you know. And I don't think, you know, like sometimes that toxic situation is simply because that's all they've ever known.
All they know.
Right. Yep. So yes, Chaz, that it is possible to have a toxic relationship with parents. I have.
How you deal with it? You either move the hell on, far, far, far away. You can break up with parents too. Just because they're your family and your parents don't mean you always gotta. I mean, blood thicker than water, but which would you swallow? I tell it all the time. You ain't got to. You have no obligation.
Exactly what she be saying to me all the time.
You have no obligation. I know some people that from down south grew up on family first. Well, I got some friends that have been there more than my family. They done turned over more rocks and leaves for me than
I ain't even gonna lie. I look around myself all the time, and I'm surrounded mostly by my friends who have become family for that same reason. You have to be able to separate. Some people just can't accept who you are as you grow when things change. Some people don't know how to grow, and they actually stay in the same situation. I mean, it's so many ways that you can be toxic. I think the key to it is just identifying exactly what it is and figuring out how you can still deal. It doesn't mean just because you want to be away from a person that you can't love them still. You just can't exactly. Like my mom, for example, I love her. I just don't want her to live with me. You know, like I'll still help, just not from my household. You know what I mean? Because it is a toxic situation. So, I mean, you just have to be aware. I can't give specific directions because I'm going to be honest with you, it's a struggle space for me as well, but I'm working through it, and as I continue to get through it, I'll be happy to share. Y'all know I will. Del One said, I went through a toxic relationship until I messed my back up, and I finally saw it wasn't for me. Dang.
Why they must turn their back on you.
Yeah, they probably left when he got hurt. Yeah, I used to feel like I wish I had a vice to help me get through it. Seriously, people be trash. Listen, and that's another thing. When we start wanting to do drugs, you start
when you start being like, I gotta get away from it, I gotta escape, that's when you know, like, God damn.
When you drinking every night of the week, like
every morning, every night.
When you considering some blow, like
You just like, is there a way that I can feel that without necessarily going through my nose?
Well, I get addicted because I don't really want to be addicted. I just want to escape this moment. When you get to that place, it's toxic.
It's beyond toxic.
Yeah, Carrie said, we totally ignored the signs in the beginning because we both be in the representative stage. I told y'all about that representative stage.
That was Stephanie said we meet representatives.
Exactly, we do, and I talked about that on I forget the name of the other one. Let me be clear, but it's really a thing. Like in them first 90 days, let me be clear. People gonna be who you want them to be. Don't trust that person showing up. Don't, like, you don't know them. You do not know them. Y'all keep dating. Y'all try to keep your goods to yourself. Or if you want to share them, that's cool. But just know that this might not be the same person on day 91. And it's a real 90-day period. Very rarely do you see
that people be representative for 2 whole years. You'd be like, what?
And that's what I was gonna say. I ain't never dealt with a representative for that long. Oh, I feel like if that person, if somebody done, that's an actor. That ain't you no representative. That's all actor.
they get all kind of awards.
Right.
Shit.
No, I think in that point, if somebody can go and be the same consistent person for 2 years and then they change, something happened. It had to be. That wasn't the whole representative phase, Michelle.
What about if you meet somebody and you in a certain part of your life?
Mm-hmm.
Let's just say me and John or Jane.
Mm-hmm.
Me and Jane met, right? Because we being clear on here, right?
We being a whole.
Me and Jane met, right? And Jane is in a certain point in her life. She, trying to figure out what she want to be in life. We 35. She's still trying to figure out what she want to do in life. I'm 35. I already know what I want to do in life. I'm successful, whatever. Year go by, everything's all good. Jane starts feeling jealous because my shit is still going, and Jane ain't figured life out yet. So it's not necessarily her representative, but her shit didn't pop off the way it was supposed to.
Right.
So her life didn't go as planned.
Right. So it's a shift. It's a change in that person.
Right. So it could be years later where it's not even necessarily their representative, but then that envy or that, sets in. And you just like, well, I'm moving on with my life. I'm doing better and better and better, as we all should at whatever you do.
Mm-hmm.
And Jane just stagnant.
Right.
Her name Jane, right? Yeah, Jane's still stagnant. So Jane starts to have resentment. She starts to feel envy for you. It's after a year or two.
Right.
So it's not necessarily her representative that, that is still there, but she just ain't moved at the same speed that you moved at.
Right. And that happens all the time. I mean, you think about it. I'll be one, I'm like, of course, we can never do this, but even from a marriage standpoint, the person that I met at 22 wasn't the person that I was when I was 26 and got married. Definitely wasn't the person that I was at 34 when I had Harley.
Right.
And she down for sure ain't the same person at 38 when it's like 40 is facing me. And now I feel this clock ticking with all of these things. So unfortunately, some of our partners don't grow at the same time. And that can cause you to end up in a toxic situation, depending on where they are and how they actually look at certain things. But I do believe that we still see those characteristics at some point before then. We saw that you could be a hater.
Right.
You a hater. I ain't think you were gonna hate on me, right? But you can be a hater.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? So you kind of still see it. They don't feel out of the representative stage. You just didn't think they would do it.
They would do it to you.
Right. Exactly.
That's true.
Okay. Letitia said, I've been told we see red flags at the beginning, but we ignore them. Absolutely. Stephanie said, we meet representatives. You got to ask about those past relationships, but you want to believe that can't happen to you. Dang, we just said that. You can see the signs, but when it's directly directed towards you, it hits different. Exactly. They said that back then, and this was at 8:45 when they said that. So it definitely does. Because we be feeling like, I don't see you do this deep, but it's me you talking about.
Right. You would never.
Exactly. This is past relationship. This goes back to childhood and family, because her bitch ass family is trash, and that's where it starts. I 100% agree. Yes, like I mean, like I said, I want to have that conversation so bad, but I know I might have to pack up and leave.
You're gonna do that at your other studio.
I might have to. No, I might just not be able to ever talk about it. But I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. When folks come from different socioeconomic situations, when they come from different backgrounds, when they have normalized certain things, sometimes you can't tell that based on, we want to know about that past, but if you really want to know a person, you need to think about where and how they were raised, what was important to them, what are their parents doing now, who their parents were then. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's important to you? What's your values? Like, I literally feel like I need to write a checklist of things that you should ask. Almost like an interview.
Right?
I'm gonna sit you down, interview. We not gonna chop it up over dinner and you tell me all these great things. No. I'm gonna pull out a whole folder. Listen, question number one.
I was gonna say, in this card, you ain't talking about a folder.
I need a folder because it's a whole bunch of stuff that we missed out on, and it can save us so much time.
You gotta pay attention. We be all in love, and oh, girl, this feels.
And
so
it be
good.
love. It be love.
No,
I'm telling you, listen. And even at that point, they can still tell you what you want to, but it's only a matter of time before you see. It is. Let's see. Cool Chris. Hey, Cool Chris. Hey, Kiana. That's so very true, Michelle. Be happy alone. No, ma'am. That's a psychopath. Danielle, which one? Like, oh my God. Somebody that done went for 2 years. I think that's what she's talking about.
Right.
Somebody that went for 2 years and be 100% consistent, and then they switch. I agree. It's hard to deal with a toxic parent. Well, especially when you try to talk to them and tell them how this and that affects you, and they try to validate their behavior. Let me be clear. Some people don't be ready to deal with themselves. I ain't got time. I don't. I'm telling you. Hold on. I started having toxic conversations with a lot of close friends because I was hurt and didn't even notice I was toxic. Wow. And that, let me tell you, I think that we as friends have to start being more honest about that as well. Yes. Sometimes we try to, oh no, it's gonna be okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, tell people what they want to hear, because in that moment, you realize that they're already hurting. You realize they're already experiencing something. So you don't want to necessarily be that voice to bring them down further. Sometimes it's necessary though, because the thing about it is, when you are a toxic friend, and if you have really good friends, we taking on that responsibility.
Y'all taking on all the
drama, damn, y'all Michelle calling me again. What the hell? I don't feel like talking to her. You know,
girl, they don't even be calling me. Be like, I gotta go by Michelle's house again. Motherfuckers over there fighting. I got to go pick up the kids. Like,
right?
It be all kind of stuff.
They don't call the police.
Right. Right. Seriously, it be people that, but. How do you tell a friend that? How do you tell a friend or a family member or somebody really close to you that, bitch, it's you? Like, how do you tell them that?
I mean, we got to a point where we told you.
Did you? What?
I don't know what the hell you want to listen.
Well, okay, so the next question is, how do you get them to listen then?
And that's where you can't. And that's where it get exhausting. And that's where you be like, I'm finna fight her myself. Like, seriously. Because the thing is in our experience, you were able to justify it.
Yeah.
So when you said it, excuses, and when you were justifying the behavior, who am I to be like I'm not there with you all the time, and I trust you as a friend. So I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, well, she don't put me in my place, let me fall back because she said it was this. Who knew your ass was over there lying? Okay, like nobody knew.
Girl.
Nobody knew.
Maybe somebody should have said, we're not going to talk to you anymore until you make a decision and make a change. Like Michael Jackson, make a change.
I mean, but you had to process it on your own. Too.
Yeah, you have to do it on your own.
You really did.
You have to get to a point, or you'll do. I did leave a couple times.
You did,
and then I went back.
Going back, right?
So until somebody is ready, or until somebody realizes that this shit gonna kill me, or I'm gonna kill them, then it's, you gotta let them figure it out in their own time.
So let me ask, because that's the next part of what we were going to. Or how is the getting out process? When did you say, I need to get out and I'm going to stick? Because like you said, you decided several times, I'm going to leave. And then we'll be like on pins and needles, like, oh my God, she left. Yes. Okay. What can we do? You want me to help you find a place? When we moving? And then it would be like slowly but surely, well, I just stopped by to get some clothes. And then next thing you know, it was like, I ain't talked to Michelle in 4 days. She over there. You know what I'm saying? Like, seriously. So what happened? How can you help these people know, like, okay, this is the moment that it's just like, and I know it's different for everybody because it's different depending on what their situation is. But when was your moment where you said, I got to get out and I don't got no other choice?
I'm not gonna go that deep into it because I don't want to cry. But
that's fair.
It was actually 2 times, like 2 wake-up calls. One was when the toxic relationship affects the children.
Absolutely.
And unfortunately, it affected the children way before I realized it. I thought it was just the children going through growing pains and just, oh, she'll get over it. She just, she just ain't getting her way, so she got an attitude or whatever. But when you realize this ain't a joke, that's number one. And then 2 is when you realize that when you're afraid to look in the mirror at yourself, because you're like, I don't know who that bitch is in the mirror. That's when you like, wait a minute. Like, this ain't, because it ain't you. You know what I'm saying? People tell you all the time, you're not yourself, you're not this, but you're like, man, they just don't know. They don't understand. Or they going through, other type of drama. So one thing I didn't have to deal with in the toxic relationship, I didn't have to deal with trust, and I didn't have to deal with infidelity. Or if I did, I ain't know nothing about it. But the motherfucker was so clingy, I can't imagine. But so I felt like, oh, as long as they ain't cheating, or as long as they, come home every night, or as long as they ain't lying, I'm better off than the next person. No. All of it's bad.
All of it.
But
right.
But you got to choose which bad you're gonna handle. And when it started breaking you down and your children down, that's when you realize, like, oh shit.
So was there a preparation? Like, was there like, did you just say, I'm finna pack our stuff in the car and I'm gone? Did you, like, what was your process?
Well, after 37 times of packing up and leaving, you kind of got the shit down to a science. But no, I'll be honest, it was January 1st.
Always January 1st.
No, it was actually before then. I was just like, I don't want to do this no more. Like, this ain't for me. I'm looking at my friends and y'all going on trips and shit. And whether y'all like y'all made or not, y'all still can get together and go on a trip. We couldn't do that shit. Or y'all, having fun. And I'm like, I may not necessarily want to be exactly like them, but I do want to be happy.
Right.
Whatever I define as happiness. You know what I mean? Because my happiness may be different from yours. But I was like, I don't want to do this no more. It was about November-ish, December-ish. And then somebody decided to stage an intervention. No names.
Is she still on?
But
sometimes your friends need an intervention.
But no, it was actually my child. It was actually my 13-year-old.
I know.
And so, and that was December 31st. They had already planned it, so they already knew that it was bullshit.
Right.
But on January 1st, we had prayer session at church. It was like, oh, New Year, boo, come to church, pray. And the whole hour I prayed for strength. Like, nobody knew what you was praying for. You prayed quietly, or you had to tell the person next to you what to pray for. I prayed for strength. They didn't know what I was praying for strength for, but I prayed for strength to lead that situation because I knew I was so attached to that person. Why was I attached to that person? Because I felt like I could fix them.
Yeah,
that was
there you go.
That was why the longevity lasts. You feel like I can fix them. But when I went home, I looked that person in the eye and I said, "Nah, I can't do this. Come on, y'all, let's go." But just that quick. So I always say, God was sitting there waiting, like, Jesus, she finally called and said, get me out of this. And when I called, he answered and gave me the strength to get the hell on. I ain't look back.
I was so proud of you. And I think as friends, like, when I realized that, like, I remember being in my car when I found out. I was sitting in my driveway. I had just got home. And I got off the phone because she gave me this old BS high level. And I'm like, y'all, if you know me as a friend, I'm probably one of the most detailed. If you've even read one of my books, I'm one of the most detailed people there is. So when I call them, I'm like, A, B, C, D, E, like I'm giving them everything. And when I talked to her, it was like she wasn't trying to, you weren't trying to excuse yourself. You weren't trying to make an excuse. You weren't trying to do, it was just like, I'm done. And I was like, wait a minute, tell me whatever. And I remember this feeling, and I remember sitting in my driveway crying my eyes off, like,
of course, when are you not crying?
I always crying, y'all. I'm the biggest crybaby ever. But I remember just thinking, like, I felt so relieved because I was just like, she finally gonna be able to be happy. Like, literally, this, y'all, we had to celebrate it. Like, seriously, we would celebrate. And every time she hit a milestone, we would acknowledge it because we were used to going a month or so and then going back, going 2 months. So when we finally got to that place where it was like, oh wow, you ain't never hit this milestone before, it was like a cause for a whole celebration. Because again, like I tell y'all all the time, rarely does your decisions only impact you. You know what I'm saying? We were never going through exactly what she was going through at the house, but you did have that opportunity, especially when you know the background of the story. Like if I see your number pop up at a certain time at night, I got butterflies because I'm like, oh God, what is it go time? Do we need to go to the hospital? To the
we put our shoes
you know what
on?
What the kids at? You know what I'm saying? What mama on speed that damn mom you top of Michelle, a sister, you know what I'm saying? Like you didn't know what to do. You love that person so much, and it's just like you're trying to be honest, you're trying to be there, but you also have to be patient and let them work through their situation. So when it was finally over, it felt like all of us was like, oh, you know what I'm saying? Like
y'all probably had a party without me. Y'all probably was like, turn up.
We were probably in church too, playing with Get Girl, give Michelle the strength. Like, seriously.
But you know, I don't know which play it was or which movie it was, but no, it was Medea, Diary of a Mad Black Woman, and Medea / Tyler Perry said, "When you get tired, you'll know."
Miss Blessed used to tell me that before Medea was even a thing. When I was with Jarian's dad, and we used to be going through just as much toxicity as this. Like, and I was much younger, and I used to be like, "I'm tired. I'm not going through this no more. or whatever." And she used to tell me all the time, "You'll know when you're tired, and you keep saying it, you're not tired." And I swear to God, when I finally got tired. And when I was done,
Cool Chris said, "Go time."
Right. And I'll never forget, for like a week after I got tired, I was so unfamiliar with the feeling. I kept trying to force myself back into feeling something because I was just like, I gotta feel like this. You know what I'm saying? I'm so used to it. It was so foreign to me. And then I was like, I thought about it and I was like, I'm done. You know what I'm saying? It's nothing that you can do different. And when it's go time and when it's over, it's a wrap. Like, that's it. I don't try. I don't give you everything. And it's so funny. It's almost like labor pain. You be in all that pain, the baby get here, you don't feel nothing no more. I didn't. Anyways, well, hardly I did.
I don't want to compare nothing to labor pains, but yes.
You get what I mean. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just all go away. You know what I'm saying? So you be at this height in love and this height where you feel like you can actually change everything and you can do everything. And then one day it's just off. And you like, what am I supposed to do now? Like, I don't. And why is it every time that you get to that place, whether you were the toxic person or they was, all of a sudden they want to change? Let me fix it. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. You give me a little bit more time.
Well, that's what draws you back. The mother 12 times you left,
right? It's
because you see the signs of, oh, it's gonna be different this time.
Mm-hmm.
No, it ain't. It's gonna be different for 5 minutes. That's gonna be that new representative showing up. Right. And it's your new representative too, because you're like, oh, when we split up last time, you know, they told me I nagged too much, so this time I don't say nothing so much. About a month later, and you back to nagging,
right?
Because you back to being, you know, miserable or whatever. So it's only a matter of time. But that point when you realize, oh shit, it was 75% them and maybe 25% me, or 60-40. You don't really realize that part of your toxicity until you go through the healing process.
You definitely do.
Until you on the outside looking in.
Yeah. I like that. Anywho, I wanted to make sure that we were clear about some of the things that we can do in order to start the process of getting out. So number one, we got to step out of denial. Okay. We cannot continue to deny what's going on in front of us. Sometimes we are our biggest issues because we just deny everything, even when you can excuse anything in front of you, you are in denial. You have to get to be in tune with yourself to understand who you are and be able to see things for exactly what they are. If not, then it's going to be hard to walk away from the situations. Some of the stuff that you can do is log some of your emotions. You know what I'm saying? If you feel like you're really in denial, you can't see that. And this is just me. Y'all know I like to write a lot. I keep journals all the time. But I write down certain stuff, how I felt today, how I felt, whatever, so I can be aware. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes when you speak it out loud or you're saying it somewhere, you can actually face it. I
stopped writing because it was my reality.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was like, oh, hell no. I sound like a fucking fool writing in this goddamn book. How shit.
So you couldn't look yourself in the mirror. You can't write now, girl. You were going through it.
But you don't realize it until after the fact. Like, you know, like when they say you can see the sun out, the rain is gone. You don't realize it because you in it. You knee deep in it. But you don't realize it until you're on the outside. You're like, oh, there is life after death.
Right. Another thing that you can do, you just said the words life after death, and that's very, very strong. But seriously, sometimes if you need to envision your life when you're not in that situation anymore. Mm-hmm. I think we sleep on that sometimes. You know what I'm saying? I'm a very visual person. I always dream or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And sometimes you can make that manifestation so clear. And so like you literally manifesting it into your life because you just imagine the day I can come home. Listen, I don't did it to Mike, girl. In my head, I got a whole apartment. I can see the cute little furniture, girl. It's gonna be like girl colors.
You're not about to have me a witness to this. No.
Look, I told you
let's go to the comments. I'm not about to be a visionary in your own apartment.
I'm trying to tell people how to get in their own situation. Ain't nobody leaving no mic. But sometimes when I be mad enough, I be thinking to myself, like, I can afford a real nice little, you know what I'm saying? And then I'm gonna go, you know what I'm saying, pull up in my bed and I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that. Like sometimes you have to, I'm being funny right now. But seriously, envision yourself when you're not coming home in distress and think about how delightful it is when you don't have to deal with anxiety, when you're not afraid, when you can actually be happy. Sometimes that can help you get to the other space as well. Surround yourself with positive people. That's most important. But a part of that, as far as surrounding yourself with positive people, is being able to be around people that you can actually trust to be honest with you, and you will take your word for it. Michelle, I'm gonna call you out. Michelle, let me be clear. It was some times where she was gonna come for you because she didn't want to hear what you had to say. Michelle would not answer the phone for you. She won't. And that was just her working through that situation. You know what I'm saying? But literally, you have to like be responsible for your friends as well. Because again, we love y'all. We holding on to you. You know what I'm saying? Your issues are becoming ours. So, you know what I'm saying? Even if you can't do it for yourself. And I think that's a lot of the reason why you stopped talking so much, because it was like, dang, I'm putting a lot on them. And we didn't want you to feel like you had to run away. And although it was appreciated, we were trying to be those positive friends. So when you hang around positive friends, you need to know that if you let them in, they're going to be honest with you. You need to be able to respect the honesty. But if you're really trying to get out, respect the honesty.
That's the point. You gotta really be trying to get out.
Yeah, these are for people that's really trying to get out. And so then we're gonna get into this, but healing the shame. Sometimes we stay in situations because we're so embarrassed of all of those situations. And so sometimes I hated this. But I grew up in that situation where you in that household where people tell you to keep your business in your household. Right. Don't tell nobody. Now that I'm an adult, I realized that they were telling us that because what was going on in the household shouldn't have been going on. Right. And I think that sometimes when we're in these toxic relationships, we shut up. I ain't gonna say nothing. I ain't gonna do nothing. I ain't saying nothing to nobody. Because if you can hide the shame, then you know what I'm saying, you keeping it from, nobody can hold you accountable. You know what I mean? So when you are really ready to get out, you have to start being able to face that shame, telling people. That is the first part of actually healing. So now we get to the part where we get to heal. I just dropped my phone with my notes. So
get your phone, and while you up, get that bottle of wine. Okay, it says somebody Raquel is like, damn, Mike. Yeah, she got a whole apartment.
Might be on my nerves, y'all. Ain't
two brothers, y'all black ladies looking beautiful. I see y'all smiling. That's awesome. Okay, we're right there.
Now, just
you can respond to that.
Okay, literally going through that night right now on this ring. She no longer talks to me about her unhappiness because I'm always honest with her. And Nikki, that's a place that we have to be when we and just know that you're not doing anything wrong. Nope. Like I said, you have to understand that person. You have to understand the process that they're going through. It's easy when we're not going through stuff to tell somebody else everything that they should be able to do, but they have to work their way through that process. The last thing that you want them to do is make a decision based on something you said. And if they're not ready, they bring it back to the situation. So if that means you have to fall back right now
and love them from afar,
take advantage of that.
Yep. But don't stop being a friend.
Don't stop being a friend.
Don't stop being a friend. Even if you, instead of checking on them once every 3 days,
thank you.
Check on them once a week. Because what you don't want to happen is, you know, they fall into a depression, or some people even go so deep into I ain't gonna say that. We're not gonna go there. But
but it get real.
It get real. Yeah. So don't stop being a friend. Don't stop being you. Because at the end of the day, once they finally do get out of it, they're gonna appreciate it. But you just gotta let them come to terms with their own time. I said this to my sister today. I said, when you start, instead of giving people advice or instead of saying, girl, you stupid, or why are you doing it? Ask them questions that make them say it with words how stupid they are. Like, so when that bitch threw that book at you, how did that make you feel?
Right.
They ain't got no choice but to say, this bitch threw a book at me. How do I feel?
Make you think.
So when you ask questions to let them say out of their mouths
Mhm.
how they feel or what they think,
Mhm.
instead of you giving them direct advice, that allows them an opportunity to say it. Because in your head, you're going through too much anyway. But when you say it, you over and over again, you realize, I'm the dumbest motherfucker out here.
Right.
So you got to be that friend where you just like, how did that make you feel when you did that?
Right.
How did you, that's how therapists do.
Yeah, that's exactly what they do to you. They make you think about how dumb you sound. That's why sometimes I save some money and like I said, I journal a lot.
Yeah.
Because sometimes when you write it down, you be like, I'm really stupid. Like, this is dumb. I know what to do now.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Sometimes you just have to be able to face exactly what it is that you're going through. Let's see. Stephanie said, how do you write in your journal when your privacy has been violated? Oh, wow. Privacy violation is a part of being in a toxic situation. Okay. that definitely is. I think everybody should know boundaries. Go pick it up if y'all haven't already.
Yes.
Everybody should have boundaries, and digging into somebody's personal space like that, especially when you're talking about a diary, a journal.
Yeah.
That it might went and read something that I don't word on one of them journals. I'm getting that apartment for sure. Let me be clear. You're not finna read what my
first of all, sis, we living in an age where you ain't even gotta get an apartment. Can we get you a house?
Because that's a part of my freedom. When I'm done, I want to be able to jump from place to place. I don't want to have to resell. I just want to go.
Ayana, she has truly thought about this. You need to talk to your friend because she got this plan.
I do.
Already planned out. But when your privacy has been violated, you got to start using it. Well, you know what? Motherfuckers go through this too.
They do.
Never mind.
That's why I say it's a part of a toxic situation. And I guarantee you that if your privacy is being violated, then there's some other stuff going on as well.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't just stop right there.
Right.
So again, we have to be out of the denial phase and really understanding. I mean, it's nothing that you can do technically besides start another journal, hide it somewhere else, but you're gonna always live in fear that somebody's gonna know something that's in that detail.
Mm-hmm.
And that's almost like, I know I'm being a little harsh here, but it's like being raped. Like, my journals are really, really personal to me. I always say, like when I pass on or whatever, people have a whole bunch that they're gonna be like, oh my God, I can't believe she was doing whatever. But at this moment, like, that's a space that's just off limits to everybody.
Right.
And so if some people have other things that's that important to them, you shouldn't, I mean, like, I don't want to be with somebody that's gonna take that away from me. Like, I don't. Ooh. So like I said, Stephanie, I don't know that you're in this situation, but my best advice is, if your privacy has been violated, I want you to take the time to see what else in your relationship is being violated and make a decision from there. Mm-hmm. As far as making something quick, maybe you hide it in your car or get yourself a safe with a key or something of that nature so that you can keep, but don't stay in a situation where you can't have some type of privacy. Like, that's crazy. Everybody is an individual, and they need that time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just my very strong opinion, but I really believe that. Whoever this Two Brother guy is just troll.
Okay.
Hit the like button, definitely. But he did give you a compliment. He said, "You looking fine, girl. Take care, ladies." I'm out. He's out. Alex, hey Alex, how you doing? This sucks. What sucks? I don't know. Basically meet her where she is. Absolutely. Cool. Books hurt. Chris is a cool whole.
I'm telling you, books, shoes,
they do.
Trash cans.
Absolutely. Bricks in the windows, all types of stuff. They hurt. Yeah, you gotta say it a certain way with patience. Blessed ladies. Hey Lock at Cool Chris Salute. Hey Snacks. Hopefully YOLO feels better. And then threw it back in my face. Oh wow. The funny part is, Stephanie, I've actually been in that situation with my mom. Like, when I was young, I was a teenager. I have been journaling for years. My mom actually took my journal and wrote back to me in it.
Girl,
how the hell? This ain't no secret Santa. Like,
she one of a kind.
one of a kind. Like, I never forget that feeling that I felt. That's why I know now if anybody else were to ever do that, because I promise you,
She
would
goes
never put
back
my hands
to
on my mama. I would never do that. But in that moment, even at that small age, I envisioned myself fighting her. I was so upset. I was so hurt. I've never been. That's like the worst type of person. I want you to run.
She said it was years ago. Thank God.
Oh, great. Ayana said I got a whole plan. Also, when
you got a whole plan,
I know.
Check your plan. Yeah.
I got to keep that plan on somebody. Also, when your privacy is being violated, let's see. When your privacy is being violated, it's because they're looking for something because they know that they're up to no good. I definitely do agree.
Or they know you
that.
about to get the hell on.
They know, yeah. So they like, okay, well, let me figure out this plan.
Right.
Invasion of privacy will ruin your relationship. It'd be literally over. And Stephanie agreed. He was actually caught cheating. So it's always something that's underlying.
Yeah.
Cool Guy Dre, Hayes, next. Oh, my grandma wrote in my diary. I was hurt. That's some painful. What is wrong with these people?
I'm gonna write you a note back in your own shit.
Right, like seriously. I mean, like, I still have that journal to this day. Like, seriously.
Shit.
A.W. Patterson at Kiki, is there a way for us to connect outside of YouTube? Yes, you could always DM me at the Richest Vlogs, or follow me and DM me at Asa Lakia on IG, and I definitely do my best to respond to everybody. So please hit me up. Okay, we got to talk about the healing process. So my question, and I actually had a conversation with a friend last night, okay, about the healing process of everything, because I was telling her we would be having this conversation, and when I got to the end part, and I was like, how do you know when you really healed? It's been so many times in my life that I felt like I had healed, only to get into another situation and realize it's still open. I got a lot of open wounds. So how do you know? Because I can honestly say in this space, I feel like you're healed.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh.
You don't. Yeah. I'm wrong.
No, you talking about you had a conversation with a friend, so I was like, oh, me? Mm-hmm. I honestly, I don't think you're ever 100% healed. Mm-hmm. I think every, that's not just a toxic relationship. That's any, any trauma that you've been through. It takes a piece of you that you can never get back to 100%. You can never be whole, but you realize you handle situations differently. Okay. That is you healing. So you're never healed, HEALED, but you're always healing.
Gotcha. Okay.
That's how I look at it. So where I used to throw a shoe, because I was a shoe thrower too. I ain't gonna lie, whoever said shoes hurt. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was a toxic person. I threw a shoe in a trash can. Mm-hmm. But instead of doing that, now I just go for a walk. Okay. Or so now you realize. Or now I just say, you know what? I got an attitude. I'm gonna call you back. Mm-hmm. Healing. Gotcha. So you never really healed, but you start the process by identifying. I started my process when I left the relationship, and once I got settled physically, because you leave the house and all that other kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. Once I got settled physically, I went to therapy, and the first thing I told the therapist was, she said, "So what brings you here today?" I said, "I just got out of a relationship. Blah, 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 blah. I want to learn how to love myself." She said, "Oh," she said, "You almost there because you identified what you want to do." And so I said, "I don't want to talk about this person. I don't want to talk about them. I don't want the first couple sessions to be about them. I don't want this to be a gripe session. I don't want this to be, let me tell you what they did. No, I want to talk about me." Right. And I damn sure don't want to go back to 1981 and talk about, what your dad and your mom did. I don't want to do that either, because it's been 40 years. I don't want to talk about that. Mm-hmm. I want to talk about Michelle in 2019 or 2018 or whatever the case may be. I want to identify why I don't love myself enough to not have been in that situation so long. So that started the process because I identified me. Gotcha. It was me. So let me ask you a question, because I've been in those situations as well. I've never been brave enough to ask, show me how to love me, because I've been thinking I love me. But I do know that, there is self-sabotage and different stuff that we do because we do, whether it can be a lot of reasons that we do it. Do you not feel like some of those... reading comments right now. Do you not feel like some of this could have been from your childhood? Like you said, you didn't want to talk about that, but some of it could have been from your childhood. Some of it could have been some of those things that led you to this place
where you weren't loving yourself and you were actually allowing certain things to happen. So how did they deal with that?
Yes, I agree. When I say I didn't want to talk about childhoods, because I grew up in a single family home. So I didn't want it to be, oh, well, you didn't grow up with a daddy. So this, girl, half us didn't grow up with one, or half us didn't grow up with a mama. So we know that that's part of the issue. We know that. Mm-hmm. So I don't want to talk about that. But let's identify the traits that did come from childhood. Mm-hmm. Like, for instance, there's a saying that goes around and say people are raised on love or survival. Mm-hmm. I feel like I was raised on survival. Don't get me wrong. That doesn't mean my mom loved me any less.
Right.
But she just knew as a single mom, she had to do what she had to do. Mm-hmm. And, she got that from her mom. She, mm-hmm. It's I'm not.
Yeah, I know this town this week.
Some things are there. But yeah, those type things, yes, we can identify those. Mm-hmm. But I don't want to spend our first 12 sessions talking about, well, tell me how life was when you was 13. No, bitch, you're just collecting the check. Let's speed up. Right. We can do that all in one session. So that's what I meant. Gotcha. I didn't want to go that far back because I don't even remember how I felt at 13, let alone 13 days ago. Mm-hmm. So I didn't want to do that part of it. But if you ask me specific questions about my past, we can do that.
Got it.
And we can identify that. And it's totally like I am my mother. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like I grew up on survival. I don't to say I feel, I care, I love. I ain't learned that until 27, 28. Mm-hmm. Well, 37, 30, however old we are. Mm-hmm. So
that's why you forget.
Right. But so those type things, we can go back to the past with that. But I wanted to talk about more recent stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I didn't want to spend sessions talking about, well, how was your childhood? Mm-hmm. Y'all remember?
Right.
So, right, that type of thing. But the healing process, and I know somebody mentioned before, like, what if the toxic person is you? In order to go into the healing process, you have to accept the fact that some, if not all, some of the toxic person was you.
Right.
Because you have to have some level. And the way in the world, everybody just innocent and sitting there like, oh, mother's saying, I did nothing wrong. Somebody threw a trash can too. Mm-hmm. So you got to be able to accept the fact that it's you, because at the end of the day, you can't change nobody but you.
Yeah.
So I don't want to sit in this counseling session talking about her or them. I want to talk about me, because I have zero dealings with that anymore. I want to fix me.
Right.
You know what I mean? So,
and I think that it's an ongoing thing. You know what I mean? Because like I said, we're constantly growing, changing. Our situations, tragedy shaped, remold us. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's almost like our brains in so many different situations, where you get married, have a baby, lose a job, get a job, make more money, make less money, you know what I'm saying? Experience death, experience life, whatever. Your brain is constantly being reprogrammed. And so you're constantly changing.
Yep.
And because of that, you know what I'm saying, you have to make that apart. That's why I always preach to people therapy, counseling. Like I say, you can do it. A lot of people don't want to share their business, but find ways that you can actually get your emotions out, whether that's to a friend, you know what I'm saying, so that you can actually understand what's going on with you. You know what I'm saying? To me, I feel like that's definitely a part of the healing process, is being able to first and foremost understand who you are. And like Michelle said, why did I allow this? What is wrong with me? You know what I mean? Because you have to be able to take responsibility for it. We see so many people that you can listen to enough people and they always excusing themselves. They always, I did this because I did that, because very rarely do you really hear people say, because I'm a fucked up person, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm crazy, you know what I'm saying? Because I did this. Most of the time we like, no, because Michelle did this and it made me act like this. That's not really be the reality. But
I learned that in my Don't Hear Nobody No More class.
Absolutely.
Can't nobody make you do nothing you don't want to do.
Can't nobody you. Right. We better start believing it.
Why are we sipping at the same time? I was drunk.
I don't know. I ain't even drunk. Mine watered down. So
you do this. But yeah. Okay, we got touch screen.
It is touch screen. Did you ain't see me? Which I have been clicking on the thing the whole time.
Yes, Stephanie, healing is the ongoing process. You just get better and better with time.
Yeah, you do. And sometimes you can identify that you've healed, or you're starting the healing process when the pain is less severe. You know what I'm saying? In the beginning, and this is considering you haven't moved on to somebody else and your pain is being masked. So you're not dealing with it. This is saying
that rebound,
right? Not the rebound situation, but the situation where you sit, you like, I made this conscious decision to be alone, and that means I ain't calling nobody for no booty call. I'm not
right.
No, you can't take me out right now. I just need to be by myself, be with myself, And when you can be with yourself and you can look yourself in the mirror and you can admit, like, dang, I don't feel as bad as I did yesterday. And then I don't feel bad as I did last week. And now I'm starting to go, I think that's when you kind of start knowing that I'm healing, you know what I'm saying? Or I'm going through the process of healing.
You start healing and even though we stand here drinking and cussing and stuff like that, I believe in a higher power, but you know that the healing process is working when doors start opening that you knew nothing, that you didn't see
right
when you was in the situation.
Absolutely.
And you like, oh dang, when people start presenting themselves like, I wanted to do this with you, but your crazy ass was back there, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So, or when God put you in a position where he like, I was preparing you for this, but you was over there acting a goddamn fool. Sorry. A goddamn fool. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So you start to realize I am healing because it don't even have to be about nobody else or being in another relationship. It's just about your self-worth.
Absolutely.
And you realizing like, oh, I am pretty much the SHIT.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's when you start to realize you are healing.
And then I think another thing is when you understand why everything happened in that situation. When you understand why the breakup happened, when you understand why the relationship happened and all of those type of things, that's when you can actually start the process of healing or you're actually in the midst of it. Because sometimes we leave those situations and we stay in denial. We got out maybe because somebody, or because we went, exactly. And before you know it, those same things have manifested in those situations. I believe that sometimes I have even been in situations where I walked away from one situation and ended up in the exact same situation. And what I came to realize is it was because of, number one, me, I was the issue, or number two, it was the energy that I put off. I was attracting a certain thing. And sometimes when you're in a negative space, when you have an aura about yourself, you know what I'm saying, and it's not a positive one, those type of energies will continue to be attracted to you. And so you think, we always be like, girl, I think this God, because I said I wanted him to look like this, and that, or I wanted her to look like this,
you got
and
that.
Type. Right, it's a whole thing. And then, oh, he got this job, and girl, you saw the car, and then, oh my gosh, she said, hey to my kids. And then you be like seriously, you've been on beat this whole situation up to convince yourself this is what you're supposed to do. And within a short period of time, you're like, dang, I'm back in this situation. So once you can take a step back and you can say, okay, this happened because of this. I have to take responsibility for this. I am responsible for this change. I need to change this aura and this energy about myself. You'll start seeing a difference as well. You can consider that healing.
That's why I say when you realize that when you are whole and when you realize you're the shit in any capacity, whether you overweight, got fucked up edges, whatever the case may be, when you realize that you the shit the way that you are, then all that you attract a different type of person. You attract a different type of quote unquote people. Because a lot of times even your friends would be like, why you always attracting this same type of person? You always attracting this old. And me and my cousin said all the time, we felt like we were fixers. We felt like we can get with broken people and fix them. Why? What is it about?
That's a whole toxic topic by itself.
Yeah. Why is it that you feel like you gotta fix people?
Because the reality is you're so fucking broken. Right. If I can fix this,
you're like, I'm gonna work on y'all instead of me. But then when you start to become selfish, and being selfish is okay. You can be selfish. But when you start saying, you know what, I ain't gonna fix nobody but Michelle, right? Then that's part of the healing process.
Exactly. I definitely agree with that. And I'm glad that you said that because I've definitely been guilty of that as well. If I fix on this, I ain't gotta deal with this. You know what I'm saying? I'm just gonna keep on fixing. And then you find yourself being proud of that fix over there, even though you're dead on the inside. You're a whole dead person on the inside. But you proud, like, look, it's shiny. Look. And then the next thing you know what happened because you broke.
You gonna make me
I made you. I did this. If it went for me, blah, blah, blah. You know
that's what makes you stay longer though, because you want to reap the
benefits.
You like, I invested all this time and money into you. You gonna grow up and be something, goddamn.
Right, you gonna grow up and be something. Like anything. Lord have mercy. Child,
we're gonna match investments, right?
We finna do something different. Okay, it look like they might be having a good conversation over here. Let's see.
Y'all, if y'all ever be on this show, these lights is, I'm probably sweating.
You hot?
Girl,
you were just cold when you walked in here.
Well, I wasn't under these interrogation lights, but I got on 3 shirts. I got on a hat. And I'm.
It's a fan right here. You want to turn on the
yes.
fan? Okay. Yeah, you gonna have to put it over there. I think you
Girl,
having hot
I'm
flashes. You getting old.
getting old. I'm
Yeah.
29. But these lights ain't no joke. Them right there, I feel like we in there. You know, I've been interrogated before.
I'm gonna need you not to be interrogated. I'm gonna need you not. Okay, we gotta get some on this comment. Hey, sincerely yours. How you doing?
This is life right here.
Don't put that fan on me. It's gonna be too cold. You must learn to get to the root of our issues. Actually,
yes.
Absolutely, Toxic. We are saints and sinners. Absolutely. The hardest thing to do is unlearn toxic behavior. However, it can be done. Yes. I agree. Yes. You are healed when you can see the person that hurt you and not get that bubbling in your stomach. You can see them and treat them right and feel no hurt whatsoever.
When you can just pray for them and say hallelujah. Or you just don't say nothing at all.
Queen, let me be clear. If that is an indicator, my ass still broken. If it's still supposed, I want to throw hands at it. It is. It is. Not a lot of people. I have grown. I'm changing. I'm doing this not only for y'all. I'm doing it for me. Okay, I can learn something from each one of these, but it's still some situations I you know, because I'll get on the phone with you and I'll start off like this, and before I know it, I'm like, and I know, but I do realize that. You know what I'm saying? Yes. Those are places that I haven't healed, and I am still.
But to piggyback on what she said, I do feel like once you, let's just take relationships out of it, just anger, period. Once you can look at that person and feel nothing, or you don't feel that the urge to have revenge, I think a lot of times we stay in toxic relationships because we want revenge. We dislike that person so much we want to see their demise.
Now that's no come with it, because I ain't never experienced that.
Not me personally, okay. But I have witnessed people that's like, I'm gonna leave, but I swear to God, I'm gonna wait till this motherfucker blah 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 blah. And I'm like, you can watch that from across the street. Why you got to be there to watch that?
Wow,
but that's probably you just convincing yourself. You know you want karma to happen. You can't control when karma gonna happen.
And most times it never does. Like I don't see some people that do so much dirt, and maybe it's happening in areas that you can't see. But
it's supposed to happen in areas you can't see.
Right. I don't see people that you be like, you did all of that and you just won $1 million. You know what I'm saying? You did all of that and you just married the most beautiful man or woman in the world. You know what I'm saying? You did all that and you just got blessed with all these kids when this person over here can't even have one. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes it's just unfair. You know what I'm saying? So I'm definitely not staying around to see nobody. I don't even want nobody to do bad. I just want to do better. I am Surgeon said, speaking of Tyler Perry, this reminds me of the movie Acrimony, how we was on her side and mad at him the whole time when it was her toxic ass sister. Yes. You do better say that. I think healing is when you truly forgave the person that hurt you.
Yes.
Then you can move forward. I definitely agree. That's definitely a component. Die random YouTube recommendations. Huh? I don't know. I be wishing I could just block people. It's just, why they even say so? Anywho's, I'm so proud of you. Congratulations on your new book, and I wish you and the fam nothing but more blessings and success. Thank you, Mopar 702. What about hereditary toxic behavior? Do you ladies believe that certain things can be passed on? Absolutely. I believe in generational curses. I do. Like, seriously, I'm actually starting a whole new book, y'all, called The House. And it's really based on that. I already started because I finished the 4th one, so now I need to move on to something else. And
but no, you believe that behavior is hereditary?
I think it can be. And what I mean by that, again, is like I gave you the example before with the whole Mike situation. He was in a cycle of behavior, a cycle of unawareness. You know what I'm saying? Everything going on around him was normalized. You know what I'm saying? So this was a behavior. It wasn't necessarily that it had to be that way. This was something that was being taught. You know what I mean? And so until you separate yourself and get into a whole nother situation, you felt like this was totally normal. There are people who sleep with, for example, I have somebody that I know that all she's dated was married men, but her grandma was a product of a married man. Her mama was, everybody in their family. You know what I'm saying? And so in her mind, this is normal. This is what we do.
Yeah, but those are choices.
It's choices, but it's still a behavior.
Okay.
No, I can be wrong.
No. When I think of behavior, I think of I think of how you act, like not the things that you do. Like I do believe that you're a product of your environment.
Right.
I do believe that. But I don't believe that, oh, my daddy was angry, so I'm angry.
Oh, no. And I don't mean to come across, that's not what, I'm not doing a good job of what I'm trying to explain.
Okay. You mean a product of your environment.
That might be a better way.
Hereditary mean because you had a unibrow, I got one too. That's hereditary.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So I'm saying a product of your environment. Yeah. I don't know that behavior can be hereditary. We need to look into this.
It might be.
I don't know.
It might be. We're not psychologists. Did you get that disclaimer?
I forgot to give it at the beginning of this one. I forgot to get it at the beginning of this one. But I'm gonna go back. You know I'm going to look it up. I definitely am. And I'm gonna be back. It's next to be able to say yes or no, because now I'm interested. Hey Chappelle babes. I do agree. So ongoing thing, agree. Tie at the riches, sister. It's always a blessing. Yes, it is, definitely. Thanks. Those are generational curses. So yes, I think it's a generational curse is what we're talking about.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be able to clarify all of this. Y'all know I am. So just bear with me, okay?
You're gonna have a psychological.
that same one. Put it down because you got to drive. Ain't nobody taking you home now.
A psychologist on here to answer some of these questions
right,
for real.
Exactly. Let's see. Okay, Queen, I guess I'm definitely not healed. The person that hurt me when I was 12 still affects me now. His name, the thoughts of him, and he passed away now, but I still get upset and cry. Oh, I have been there. Like, so I get that. I definitely get that.
It's also about forgiveness. Like
how do you even know when you forgave?
But you forgive off top. That's what you do. I know people like, girl, you ratchet and you a Christian. Yeah, I'm both. Like I'm telling you, I can listen to Young Thug and Marvin Sapp, trust me. But forgiveness, you give forgiveness off top. Like when I left January 1st, I forgave as I was leaving out.
But so that's what I'm asking you. How did you know that you, like, I can say I forgive, but forgiveness remove, like,
you have to learn what forgiveness means to you.
So we finna find
forgiveness. Girl, you about to look at the Webster Dictionary. But no, forgiveness don't mean forget.
Right.
Forgiveness don't mean heal.
Exactly.
Forgiveness means I forgive you for all your wrongdoing. I'm about to move on over here and work on my life, but I forgive you.
So do you think that forgiveness, the characteristics of forgiveness can be the same characteristics, some of the same as healing?
No, I think they're totally separate. Because healing involves just you.
Okay.
But forgiveness is for the other person, because they say he who angers you controls you.
Right.
So you're not gonna have that type of control over me no more. I forgive you. You're an idiot. I'm gonna forgive you for that.
Okay.
But I'm moving on. So forgiveness to me, and I know that's like the hardest thing for people to do, because they feel like forgiveness means forget. No, the hell it don't.
Okay.
You can forgive all day long, but forgiveness just means that it's not about you anymore. I'm releasing that tie that you have to me. I'm releasing that control that you have on me. Okay. I'm releasing that power that you have on me. I forgive you. Mm-hmm. God gonna work on you. That karma or whatever you believe in, that karma gonna come back on you. The universe gonna work its way back on you. So I forgive you. Mm-hmm. I don't fuck with you, but I forgive you. So it's two different things, but I just think that forgiveness is the first thing. Like, you gotta forgive. You gotta forgive yourself. You have to forgive yourself. You have to be like, you know what, Michelle, we done did some dumb shit. But if we continue to live in the past, we'll never be able to be productive in the future.
I definitely agree with that.
So we have to be like, you know what, I forgive it. Now let's work on it.
Right. And so let me ask you a question. Do you feel like you have to forgive before you can heal?
Yes.
Do you feel like they coincide? Okay.
Yes.
Got it.
Yes.
So maybe that's,
you still hold on to the hurt and pain. You can't forgive and you can't heal because you want revenge.
I don't mean this to the one.
Revenge don't have to be physical. Revenge can be emotional. Revenge can be mental. Revenge could be, I just want you to hurt the way I hurt. Mm. So until you say, you know what, we are.
So maybe that's what my whole issue is and why I got on, because I don't think I ever.
Y'all know that movie Color Purple. Until you do right by me, everything you think about is gonna fail. Until you have that moment, like Miss Celia did.
Right, exactly. Like, and see, I think I've been. No, don't get me wrong. I'm being a real petty, and I don't want it to see like you get hit by a truck. I do. I mean, I have, but like in my adult years, since I have grown and I've matured, I ain't never. But most of the time, do what you want. I just want to feel better. Like it, so it didn't even matter.
So what
Whatever.
would make you feel better? Them to get hit by a truck?
No. I be wanting them to do good. Like in the situation that today, I want you to do well. I just don't want to be involved. You know what I mean? So so I guess that's what. And so I'm gonna have to take some time and do some studying on forgiveness, because I think right now I've just had an epiphany. I don't think that I've necessarily forgave, which may be some reasons that I cannot properly heal.
Let me say this, because I don't want to undermine or lessen the fact that people have been through for real type shit.
Right, of course.
Because fortunately, I have not.
What you mean?
Like, some people have been through some real fucked up shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're not gonna get into that. But some people have dealt with, like, I would never say that my life has just been so horrible, because my fucking friend who just lost her life dealt with some real shit.
Mm-hmm.
So when I look at her, I'm like, damn, the shit I be talking about traffic on 285, and damn, the fact that, my ankle swollen is not compared to what you dealt with. Right. So I mean like that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like some stuff is just, once you think about it in the grand scheme of things, it's small. Mm-hmm. So forgiveness, when you have dealt with some big shit, I ain't gonna say it's that easy.
So you understand why I ain't forgetting.
Yes.
So, okay, gotcha.
Yes.
All right.
So let me be clear.
Normal.
Let me be clear.
Go with that, because I'm thinking
so let's just say this as an example. I don't know nobody on here, or if I do, I don't know y'all name. But let's just say you dealt with childhood abuse, sexual abuse.
Okay.
I'm not about to come to you and say, girl, you got to forgive that person that abused you. No. You do. That's a Christian thing to do. But I can't tell you how long it's going to take.
Right, exactly.
I'm talking about the motherfucker you're in a relationship with.
Gotcha.
You got to forget a nigga or a bitch and keep it moving. That's what I'm talking about. But people who have been through some real life shit,
gotcha.
Forgiveness take a little bit longer, and I get that.
So yes. So I'm normal.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So I feel, because I was.
So we're back on the same.
I was gonna get off of here, and I was gonna go get some of them journals and be like, wait a minute, let me flip back. Okay, wait, I gotta write another note. You know what I'm saying? Like I was gonna figure it out. I was gonna figure it out. And Carrie said it too. You have to forgive in your own time. I just think that in my situations, I have to actually work on it, because sometimes I just shut it down, block it out, and I move on. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Just because it's too much to deal with.
Yeah.
So let's see. That saying, how has messed up more people. I'm not sure what saying. Somebody asked why you're fat. I don't know. That'd be so petty.
But I like food.
Maggie K said I like fat.
They're probably fat too.
Y'all don't be. This is somebody that's a toxic person, and they be working on themselves. We don't got blurry. Okay, big facts. Big facts. She was typing. That's what she meant. She typed fast. Forgiveness is when you start the healing process. Okay. Yes. Yep. Mm-hmm. I am sorry. My father-in-law brought to my attention that forgiveness came before every miracle in the Bible. So don't block your blessings. You talk about the situation less when you begin to forgive. That's some good advice. We got I'm sorry guys for this blur. I still ain't went and got no pictures to go behind us. And then I cleaned up and moved the picture that was behind
us. Don't
us.
be having me on no set. You ain't even got the darn
I know. I want to use something that I already have, because this is going to be my room for my Christmas. We just got to sit still. I hate this thing.
Can we talk?
Yeah, you can talk, but it's just, it might be. Go ahead.
Insurgent ATL presents. I agree. Like that's what my.
This is going to drive me crazy. I'm sorry.
Oh.
It won't.
Don't ask me to take my hat off.
I'm not.
Okay, good. I'm not. But my ideal of forgiveness comes from Bible.
Okay.
Because prior to said toxic relationship, I was in a bad marriage. Mm-hmm. And in order for me to heal from that, or in order for me to move on, I had to forgive. That was just something that, the marriage counselor instilled in me, was just like, in order for you, as long as you keep going through in your head all the stories and the situations, and that's why I was able to go into that next situation with that counselor and say, forget about this person. I want to talk about me, because I had already forgave them.
Right, exactly.
Now I'm working on forgiving myself for the dumb shit.
Sleepy Fire Kicks, bro. I am gonna make you a moderator in a minute because these people be actually a mess. I don't know why this is not. I'm gonna have to. Do I have something that I can put in the background? I know we're gonna get ready to get off.
What do you have to do? I don't know how this
I
works.
usually have this little picture back there. Hold on, let me go get it. But I moved it because it needs to focus on something.
I don't know how this works. Can you push the camera back some? It might light up. This ain't my lane. Don't get me the line. Girl, she done went all the way. I do numbers. I don't do this. Come fix your set.
I'm trying. So we usually have this in the background, and it'll stop it from because it's focusing on something other than us moving. And it had been doing good the whole time, but we just got to sit still for a minute, and it might come back and focus. I bought a new camera and everything, and it still do the same thing.
Girl, that's that new shit.
No, it be happening on Friday night. It might usually can make it go away, but it ain't working for me. So,
are we still cute in the blur?
Oh, wait. It looked like it was gonna. I don't know. You push the camera back some, it might clear it up. I'm trying to, but it's not doing it.
But if you gotta focus on one thing, then
it just not. It was. I don't know. Anywho, we got to wrap this up anyways, because we've been on here.
Oh, there we go. We're back.
Okay, great. See, I was about to quit. That be getting on my nerves. Anywho, oh God, I really need a moderator because I hate people like this. Like, what? You know what? This is what toxic people do. You ain't got nothing else to do besides come here and say this. Like, you could be doing 1,000,001 things. If you put that energy into something positive, you can be anything you want to be, but you rather be here giving me watch time. Like, why?
I mean, we appreciate the views.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Right.
I be wanting to go off so bad, like in a whole real way, but I'm gonna be professional. Thank you, B. She said
y'all still cute.
All right, so
she didn't want to give me no hat. You know, I said, "Can I get a hat?" And she said, "No, you got your own shit." No, I'm just like,
I ain't said none of that.
No, I'm just kidding.
Right. So, did you have any final words? First and foremost, did anybody want to join us and chime in? Just to give us an opinion, maybe something that you've experienced, something that you want to share. I gotta go to Hobby Lobby and get some pictures. I don't want to because
so they had something going around about Hobby Lobby talking about Trump for 2020. I don't know if you want to do some research on that.
Hobby Lobby?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not getting ready to do this with you.
I'll show you the picture.
I don't want to see that picture.
Okay.
I need to see the picture. Let me see the picture.
Okay, show the picture.
Oh my gosh. Did we get all the comments? Because if so, and nobody's going to join, then we can head out.
I just want to say life after a toxic relationship is wonderful.
Absolutely. And I must admit, I must attest, she's in a very different space. She spent, a year by yourself? A year and some change, actually. Year and a half by herself. She found somebody. Now I'll be excited when I see her phone calls come up. I don't have to worry about fighting with her, being ignored, or trying to fix the way that I
ain't found nobody.
Huh?
That thing just fell in my lap.
No, I didn't say you found nobody.
No, I said you found somebody.
I don't know what I said, but it wasn't that.
I ain't go searching, girl. That's the best part.
Right. But no, I said I'm happy because when I see your phone number pop up, I'm not like panicking.
Right.
I know it's gonna be something positive. You're just in a whole different space. And
my tagline is I left crazy in 2018, so I don't go there no more.
Absolutely.
I'm a whole different person.
You are a whole different person.
I teach classes at church and
everything. She teach classes at church. Like, you're a whole different person. I'm so proud of you.
I'm so
and I'm even more proud for you coming here to actually share your experiences with people. I hope that something that we said maybe have resonated. Y'all have definitely helped me. Now I gotta go figure out this forgiveness and this healing part because I'm always trying to make myself better. And I must admit that this is a struggle place for me. But so I'm G Child said, still waiting on. He's wonderful after my toxic. Definitely, I think it will be coming.
I learned something today, though. I learned something that toxic relationships don't necessarily have to be with like romantic relationships. They could be your family.
Yeah.
So I never thought about that
like
too.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, you can be in toxic friendships.
Absolutely.
You know, so that's.
Divine said, I just wish the men would stop investing in the whole and invest in real women. The world would be great. Wow. Cool, Chris. Hey, bro. He always join. I love him so much. Hold on. Gotta add him to the screen. Hey, Chris.
What's going on?
Nothing much. How you doing?
Hello, Chris.
How you doing, ma'am?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing just good, listening to y'all topics and everything.
I mean, showing all 32 of them pearly white.
Look, Chris, this is our first time seeing that smile. You know I gotta be serious, so we mess with him about this every Friday.
Ooh, that thing is contagious. If you keep smiling, I'm gonna keep smiling.
Oh man, boy. Oh man. Hate that y'all had to go through those toxic relationships, but it makes you a better person in the end.
It absolutely does. It absolutely does.
I can't say that I've been through one. I guess I started seeing it was over with before it was over with, and I just made preparations. Like Kiki, you said you already had that apartment already. Hey, I was moving little by little out every day. Like, okay, yeah, it might be the day. Let me get my PlayStation and I'm out. So,
that's a PlayStation.
Yeah, gotta take the PlayStation because that's the first thing she's gonna try to mess up, that PlayStation. So I can't have that. I cannot have that. You cannot mess up the PlayStation. But the signs are there. I have a lot of female friends, and they tell me their problems. And when I give them the answer, which is straight up truthful, coming from the heart, they do get mad. They get mad, and I'm like, well, look, I'm just telling you what's really going on.
Right.
And they don't take it well, but I say, look, I have nothing to gain. Right. I'm just trying to make sure that you're in a better place, because when I was going through it, I was mad at everything. I was like, people like, good morning, look at you, you get on my nerves. I was like, just mad, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Just and I was like, this is just not the way to be. So I try to give them that advice. They get mad. Some of them listen. They do that little tippy toe running back to them, and they don't want you to know. You know how it is. Like, he just said he wanted to talk, and you go over there,
right.
And then you go over there, then you come back outside with the Kool-Aid grin. I already know what happened. He didn't give you a teaspoon or something. I already know. You know what happened. You got that teaspoon. So and then it's just a repeating cycle. He gave you enough to, I'm gonna do this and she gonna be good and she gonna come back.
Right.
So those signs are very important to notice and cut your losses. I mean,
yes.
You gotta look at it this way. I get out now, okay, time and money, you can't get that back.
Right.
But self-respect, you gotta have that. That is the main thing. Absolutely. So if you can keep that, you know what I'm saying? What's her name? What Angela Bassett said when she left Ike, all I want is my name. That's it. He can have everything else. Just give me my name. Give me anime. I work too hard for anime. I work too damn hard for anime Ike. And I got pissed about that. You just gonna take a name I gave you, you just something. I was mad about that. He's like, hell no. I made that name. So yeah, you just and just stick to those ground rules. You know what I'm saying? I tell people this all the time. Guys like to talk. I believe guys talk more than females. We gossip. I don't care if you was the bottom hole of Babylon. If I like you, I'm gonna treat you nice. You wasn't like that with me. Maybe you've changed. I don't know. I'll find out. And I go from there. I don't care what nobody else say. You could be throwing teaspoons of salt in the game so you can get it. I don't know.
Right.
But that's what I'm gonna do. And if I find out you are what they said you was, then I'll leave, and then that's just that. You know what I'm saying? But that's just how you do it. When I find out, okay, and then I'll go. Cause
Right.
it's like
Right.
rolling dice, man. You don't know what you're gonna get. You might roll that first time and oh shit, I crapped out. Hey, but you gotta play the game. That's just how I go. You
So
gotta
Chris,
play the game.
hold people accountable for their past.
No.
So has that ever bit you though?
No.
Okay.
Because
I'm accountable for that.
Like he said, he don't care if she was the bottom hole of Babylon. He didn't see that for her. But you know how sometimes they're like, okay, if you a hoe, you gonna be a hoe. If you're a cheater, you're gonna be a cheater. So I'm saying you don't. Yeah.
So I can't, because you're not that same person you was. Well, I'm gonna find out. You know what I'm saying? Everybody has a past. It may be something itty bitty. So I don't know. Maybe you used to steal and you just never stopped. You know what I'm saying? I'll be like, look, man, as much as I love me a pack of Hubba Bubba, you're gonna pay for that shit. You're gonna pay for that shit.
Right.
You gotta stop stealing.
You said something that we did not mention this whole time. We kind of said some other words around it, but we said you said self-respect.
Self-respect.
And, you know, some people know what the word respect means. They mean, okay, you know, I'm gonna speak to my elders. I'm not gonna, you know, cuss in my grandma's house, etc. But self-respect, like that's something that you really got to dig into. Like, I respect myself enough not to fuck you up. Number one, I respect myself enough not to even deal with this. You know what I'm saying? Or I love you enough for us not to even go through this. Or I love myself enough not to even go through that. That's the key to not being in a toxic relationship. You go into it not having self-respect. You know what I'm saying?
That is what's it. And I'm one of those guys. If I meet a woman, I'll be like, hey, baby, you look good. And she'd be like, first of all, I am fucked up in the head. You don't want these problems. I'm going to give her a high five and say, thank you. Right. If you can let me know that right then and there, I'll be like, if she lied, if she's damn good, convince me. So, hey, appreciate that.
Right.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? You might piss him a Jordan or something. I appreciate you for letting me know that. Right. I'm going to roll. I'm gone. So I'm not gonna try to persuade you like most guys do. Oh, baby, that's okay. I used to be a deacon. That ain't me. I don't do this. If you come up, you tell me you crazy, I'm going. It's 2020. You got to take people for their words nowadays.
You do.
You told me it was crazy.
For their actions too. You cannot. You can't be trying to make stuff. This is not build about. Listen, we can't be building.
You told me.
With the stuff in our room, that's who they is. You know what I'm saying? Like we're not trying to play and pretend that okay.
I'm down for it. I'm down for it. As long as you let me know what was up, hey, I'm cool. You know, because I'm gonna let you. And I tell them this: don't ask me nothing, because I'm gonna tell you the truth. And I tell them that I mind my business, but I tells the truth. So if you come to me and you be like, oh, I want to know, I'm gonna let you know. So just if you don't want to know, then just go ask somebody else. But I'm gonna let you know. But I ask them questions. I ask for a birth certificate, because a lot of times people be portraying and they don't be who they say they be. I need to see a birth certificate and 2 baby pictures. I gotta make sure everything is legit.
Listen, I'm done. Chris, on that note. We got somebody else. He in the truck tonight. He can't drink. He in the truck tonight.
No, I gotta drink tonight.
We were worried. We were scared you were on unemployment. We would have to help you.
I'm still working.
Yes. I appreciate you supporting me all of the time. I really do. I really appreciate you.
No problem.
We have somebody
to meet you.
Yes.
Nice to meet you too.
It's our family. Like seriously, Chris is out for the calls. Do you hear me? And I got to bring his page because he's a comedian. He's hilarious. So
Chris, I'm my phone number because when I need some advice, I need you to give me that same setup.
Hey, like I tell everybody, I'm always up. Even when I'm asleep, I'm always up.
We'll see you later, Chris.
All right, y'all. Take it easy now.
All right. Look, my hubby sent me $50. Thank you, baby.
I hope he don't want you to do nothing for it because I'm still in the house. Y'all gonna
Listen, I don't did enough for this $50.
say, y'all have to wait till I leave.
He said he blocked a couple of trolls. So I didn't do it earlier. My ass was asleep. What's up, Chris? Actually in the truck this time. Absolutely. Thank you, babes. I figured something was going on because usually going to shut people down. Young fell asleep on my let's be clear. That's what we're gonna have to talk about. See, this is a toxic situation. Seriously,
girl, you be giving Mike a hard time. This ain't no toxic situation.
All the time.
This ain't no toxic situation.
All right. Hey, girl, how you doing?
Hey, y'all, I'm great. And yourself, look, I did not know Chris was a truck driver.
Yes, Chris is a truck driver. He for the last couple of weeks he had been some kind of schedule or something. We was messing with him about not having a job. So
Shoot, come through, Chris. Come through, Mike, with the $50.
No, I'm. He probably gonna come back too. I was just like, I'm giving my husband a hard time. I just, you know who I am. I love you, babe. Thank you.
You see what she said?
What she said?
You gotta move it. Looks like you can't repeat it out loud though. Looks like that prepaid. And I don't want no parts of it. Before they start throwing ones and all that, I want to be gone now.
You were all here when you talking about a prepaid school. Yeah, it was hilarious.
Girl, I can't keep up with my. I might be having so many vocabulary words. I need to.
It's a whole.
Not vocabulary words, the yams and
the yams. He need to send out a damn vocabulary.
Nice to meet you, Michelle. I watched the birthday vlog. That birthday, that food. That mean you look so good.
She's talking about the food.
No, because I did.
No,
she came in. You came in the door dancing.
I did. It was awesome. I enjoyed my birthday.
Good. And my phone on 15%. But I just wanted to hit back on the Christian part of forgiveness, and not even just a Christian, because not even to put the label on it, because just a spiritual. We are spiritual beings, period. But right. And I just agree with what you said, Michelle, because some stuff you can't just forgive. It's not that easy, especially, and like you said, going back to childhood. And I'm telling you, like, if I wish somebody would get in office, or a politician would just straight up say crimes against children, you just straight death, the death penalty. You know what I'm saying? To mess with, these kids and stuff. But going back to when my father-in-law told me that it was at one point, and this was after my grandmother passed last year, just going through family stuff, you know what I'm saying, where the police had to be called and everything. And sometimes, especially when you a spiritual person, you don't even know, people can see the spirit on you. People can walk past, you know what I'm saying? You could see spirits, you know what I'm saying? And I'm thinking I'm in a process of forgiving somebody, but I had 3 relatives call me in one day saying, I done had a dream about you. God is telling me to tell you to let this go, forgive, you know what I'm saying? Because there's no telling what it was doing to me. I thought I was okay, but they saw something. God, like, it was a warning that came. And that's when he told me that, you know what I'm saying? I was probably blocking some blessings. The miracle, before that miracle can happen, you need to forgive.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, what? How do I do that? You know what I'm saying? And that's when I was told that you stop talking about it less. And when I tell you, once I stopped even talking about the situation, because I had certain friends that's all they wanted to talk about. And when I told them, hey, I'm working, and it was to be honest, it was my sister. When I told them I was working on forgiving my sister, you better than me. I hate that. You better than me. Oh, you better than me, because I wouldn't. Well, you know what? Thank you. Thank you for telling me I'm better than you, because you know what I'm saying? You can't forgive, but you won't have blood pressure medicine. You can't forgive, but you taking all these medications to, because you got anxiety and all this other stuff. If you learn how to let some shit go, you know what I'm saying? Maybe you can eliminate some of them medications, so whether I'm better than you for forgiving or trying to forgive, because like that's the whole process. Like you said, it's a process. But I've seen people die, not just physically see, but people when you're anointed and when God has you covered, you ain't got to handle that.
Right.
Let God handle that, because I've seen people die, people that have hurt me, ain't even here no more.
Oh wow! Now
you know what I'm saying, and that's not even a brag.
Definitely not. They say God will make your enemies your footstool. On that note, because we got to get off here. She got to go to work in the morning. I do too. And Miss Queen is waiting. So we appreciate you coming in to share as always. And we love and appreciate your support. And we will see you on Friday night. Okay.
Yes. Thank you, ladies. And tell, hey, Queen, y'all be blessed.
You too. Nice to meet you.
Hey, Ma. How you doing?
Hey, daughter. How you doing?
I'm doing great.
Right. I'm not gonna hold you girls up. I know y'all ready to got a job to go to and probably tired. I just wanted to pop in and say hello, and I really enjoyed the conversation tonight. What you say?
No, nothing.
She said I got her over here drunk. You see me on my best behavior, Mom. I ain't got nothing to do with Michelle over here.
Kiki has been on her best behavior tonight. I'm very proud of Kiki.
Saving that stuff for Friday night.
Now Friday night's a different story.
Queen. Friday after 9, I ain't got sense no more. That's it.
Queen, let me be clear.
Yeah, I've enjoyed the conversation tonight, Kiki. Wonderful job. You too, Michelle. I really enjoyed it. Y'all have said some good things, and the only thing that I can add is what want to tell you girls is deal with your hurt now. You don't want to be my age still dealing with stuff that happened years and years and years ago, because there are a lot of people my age still hurting from things that happened 20, 30 years ago. So deal with it, dig it out, do what you have to do to deal with it. Don't let it linger and fester, because you don't want to be an old hurt woman.
You ain't but 32. Yes.
Right. I agree with that.
That's
I definitely agree with that, because I know a lot of old hurt people too, and they just get worse and worse and worse and worse. And then you know, like unfortunately, like
worse and worse.
Everything that they do and in their health condition, the things that they say, the people they surround themselves, it's bad. So I really do.
You can get bad, so just deal with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's really good. Absolutely. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, women, y'all have a good night.
And I did see your message. Oh, yay. Thank you so much for everything.
Yeah, I was so happy. My husband was like, who is that? I said, never mind. Don't worry about it. Because he always know I'm buying books. So for somebody to send me books, it's just like in his mind, like, wow, okay, this is different.
Right.
Yeah, but y'all have a good night, okay?
You too.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye. Let's see how. Wow, that is really good.
I'm gonna deal with I'm actually gonna go back to therapy.
You should. You shouldn't have stopped. See, don't be falling off now.
Girl, that stuff is expensive.
It is.
But you know what?
It's worth it though.
I'm a big stickler for mental health, working with physical health, emotion, all that. They all go together. So, for some reason in the Black community, we feel like, therapy ain't good. But I'm gonna be honest with you. If you got you some real good, solid ass friends in your circle, that's a couple sessions right there in itself.
You better believe it.
So you can get what you need out of that. Mm-hmm. You still got to add your professional.
You got to have a professional.
You got to have professional
in
there.
From a different way.
They see it from they're unbiased. They don't. You know what I'm saying? They wasn't there in the trenches with you. But
because I'm gonna be mad at y'all if y'all be taking my side. I'm gonna be mad. Okay. I ain't gonna be mad at her because she don't know them. But I be feeling like I need your 100% loyalty.
Girl, you've been divorcing Mike, or not divorcing him, but you've been in your apartment since I met you. Girl, I don't know if y'all remember, but Ayana going out and she be like, I'm divorcing Mike the weekend. We be like, bitch, you divorce Mike every weekend, bitch. I think you should be divorcing him so your ass can hang out. That's what it is.
I love Mike. He know me. I'll tell him in a minute. I divorced you. Like, I need to stop speaking that.
Brandy, you are absolutely right. It's
What's
worth
his name?
the investment. But you know what happened was, see, I went from, oh, I'm not, angry or toxic no more. So I don't need this therapy anymore. But now it's like, okay, I'm over the horizon. Church is therapy too.
Oh, absolutely.
Church is therapy too.
Yeah, you got to be at the right place though to get your spirit fixed.
Yes, so
I go everywhere.
I get a lot from the word. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah,
but I am. That was one of my September goals. I ain't make it work, but October-ish, November-ish, I'm gonna go back.
I'm gonna hold you accountable.
Yes.
So listen,
hold me accountable.
When he say Mike's side, the right side. No, Mike, it's not. They better not be taking your side. Sometimes they be having to take Mike's side though, because I be so wrong. I be so wrong, and they will tell me, and they be like, "Look, leave him alone. Kiki, you be doing this and you be doing that." And I know that's why I appreciate y'all.
Look,
so much.
Mike got to deal with you. Mike need a check for dealing with you.
A check?
You a whole lot.
I'm a whole lot.
Yeah,
I feel sorry for y'all too.
No, not for us, but
I do, because I'm a whole lot. If you know me, you have to love me. Okay. On that note, we finna go.
Okay.
Y'all spent an hour.
I'm not gonna wait till January 1st, genuine Crystal. I'm gonna do it
now
before Thanksgiving.
Right. Nah, wait a minute. Sleepy Fire over there agreeing with Mike? No. See, wait a minute. We finna fall out today.
Well, his name is Sleepy Fire Kick. So they see eye to eye.
No. That's no. You don't be agreeing with Mike, okay? That's unacceptable. Like, you're gonna be divorced too, okay? No, seriously. All right, y'all. I love y'all so much. Thank y'all so much for joining. I will be back next week. Hopefully next week I will be able to do a conversation. I think I was trying to tell y'all on Friday night where Mike kept interrupting me when I was trying to tell the subject, but I was listening to this podcast, and the question was proposed: why do women want monogamous relationships when we view sex as a chore? And so tonight, unfortunately, the couple that I had they weren't able to make it. Hopefully we can get on one accord. I'm going to invite another couple in. And actually, you and Oprah can come too, because you be wanting to smash regardless.
Damn!
Like, this one, she don't even care. It ain't no chore for her. Let me be clear.
So I shouldn't be on the show?
No, you should, because you're going to have that you're going to be able to put us women who be feeling like it's a chore, give us some other advice. So
sex ain't a chore. It should never be a chore. And do you know the type of hormones you release when you have sex?
Listen, I'm not going to save it for next Wednesday, okay? Anywho,
sex save lives.
Oh God. Anywho, so I hope y'all will join me again next Wednesday. I hope that these Let's Be Clears is beneficial to you guys. It's definitely been beneficial to me. I love y'all so much, and y'all know I'm gonna see y'all Fridays. And if you haven't picked up Boundaries or one of the other books, I'm gonna need you to go on and get on it, because I'm gonna have a Let's Be Clear book club edition maybe in a month or so. Anywho, I love y'all. Good night.
This was fun.
It was. I don't never know how to end it though. Okay,
I think you just press end.
Yeah.